years young when it happened. Everyone around me, including my own family, was just so eager for Jesus to come. Most of the people I knew sold their homes, their cattle, their flocks, all their possessions, just to prepare for the Lord's coming. So imagine when the day finally came. We were all there, stood outside, and we were nervous and excited at the same time. We're just so eager to see the Lord coming back. We looked at the clouds and we waited and waited and waited. But nothing happened. Jesus did not come back. And so after the feeling of shock and disbelief, we finally accepted the truth. And then it came. That feeling of great disappointment. I decided to pursue other things after that. In the next 6 years of my life, I alternated between teaching 7 different district schools, as well as pursuing my own intellectual enrichment. I especially liked the Charleston Female Seminary. I served about 6 terms there. And in my last term, I decided I should try arts. So I did, and I liked it very much. One day, I decided I was going to go up to Prospect Hill in Somerville because I wanted to do a sketch of Boston. It was just such a beautiful day, and I was so focused and engrossed in what I was doing that I strained my eye in the process. And for 8 long months, I could hardly use them. My mom, on the other hand, was starting to get worried. She thinks that all these secular activities that I had my attention to was taking me away from my religious beliefs. So one day she called me and she asked me to go to this meeting. She mentioned about a guy named Joseph Bates. Apparently, he's an elder, and he visited our home in West Wilton. Mom said he was a sailor, a sea captain, who actually eventually became an Adventist preacher. And he was going to have a meeting in Boston, which is just a neighbor to Charleston, where I am. I wasn't going to go. I had so many things in my mind, arts, studying. I have all of it. I was busy. But my mom was really persistent. Maybe the word even is insistent. She really wanted me to go to this meeting. And so because I wanted to appease her, I just said yes. But I know in the back of my mind I was only going to go just this once. I had no intentions of ever going back. The night before the meeting was about to happen, I had this strange dream. I remember going up to this room. It was crowded. It was full of people, and they were singing songs for God. And it was just so full that I think that I shouldn't be there. I don't have a spot here. And when I was about to leave, I saw it. It was just one vacant chair right next to the door. And it was as if it was left there for me. And then I woke up. I was really baffled by that dream, but I really didn't think much of it. So the meeting finally came, and I went inside the room. And it was such a strange feeling because it was as if I was living the dream. This was my dream. Everything happened according to what I dreamt about. So I sat in that vacant chair and I listened to what this person has to say. When the meeting finally ended, I was gonna go, but then he called out for me. Joseph Bates did. And he told me that I looked familiar. And so I told him, oh, well, you had gone to our home in West Wilton, so you must have seen one of my pictures there. And then he said, oh yeah, I did, but that's not really why you are familiar to me. Did you know that I had a dream about you? A dream? So I told him, you know, I had a dream about this particular meeting as well. And so we got into talking about it, and we realized that we both exactly had the same dream. Wow, I was just amazed. I took it as a sign. It was as if God was calling me again. It was as I was lost, and now I'm found. And I was just so inspired by my newfound faith that I decided to write a poem. And I titled it, "Fear Not, Little Flock." And I wanted to encourage others, just like me, who was lost. I wanted them to be found. So I told myself I was going to submit this to the review. I really wanted others to be encouraged, to be like me. And I didn't think much of it. But a few days later, I got a letter. It was from James White, the James White, the editor of the review, Ellen White's husband. The Whites have always been my inspiration. When I opened it, it says that he wanted me to go to Saratoga Springs and work for him. I couldn't believe it. I was excited, I was happy, but at the same time, I was hesitant. What if I couldn't do it? What if I'm not that good? Besides, I still have my eye strain to think about. And so I told James about my hesitations. And yet, he's not at all concerned about it. He still told me to come. And I finally decided I should. And I was so glad I did. Because as soon as I got there, with God's healing power, my vision was healed. And everything was just history after that. For the next 3.5 years, I poured all my heart and soul to my passion in writing. And I was able to write 45 different articles in the review, as well as the youth instructor. It made me happy. I was doing what God intended me to do. I was using my talents for His glory. So here I am now, the comforts of my bedroom, looking back at how the past years have been in my life. I went back to West Wilton to be with my family. I'd like to think it was a good reunion, but all I can think about was the sadness in my mother's eyes. We all knew, as soon as Anna, James' sister, and Nathaniel, James' brother, came to work for us, we all knew they both had sickness. The symptoms was there, but we were still happy to have them. We know they worked for the review for a reason. God sent them there. So it didn't matter if they were sick or not. You just started getting worse after that. They both died. I loved them very much. I even wrote a poem for each of them to commemorate their lives as well as their deaths. Not soon after, another colleague of mine died as well. I wrote him a poem too. And then the inevitable happened. I too had the symptoms. I started getting weaker and weaker by the day until I'm no longer productive. And that's when I decided it's time for me to come home to be with my family. Just a month after I came home, I started coughing up blood. My mom couldn't accept it. She sought all kinds of treatments, even did water treatment, everything that she can think of, but she couldn't heal me. Maybe because I was broken. Maybe because it's not only my body that's broken. Maybe my heart was broken too. I think about John. Dear John Andrews was someone I met when we moved from Saratoga Springs to Rochester. He was bright, young, and ambitious. I thought I had a future with him. But then he decided to marry Angeline instead. She was a woman who was from his hometown in Paris, Maine. I'm happy for them, but I couldn't help but be sad. I couldn't help but feel this void in me because I lost the love of my life. And maybe that's one of the things why I'm not getting any better. But that's okay. I'm ready. I started writing again. I wrote this poem called Home Here and Home in Heaven. This is my way of saying goodbye. I talk to my mom a lot these days. Talk about love. And we even talk about death. I think the time has come. I'm ready now. I look back, and even though my life is short, I'd like to think that my 27 years of existence have made a difference in this world. I wonder, would they still use my articles for years to come? Would they still remember who I was? Have I made a mark in this world? But it shouldn't really matter, because I know that I did what God wanted me to do. The time has come. It's time for me to go. But I know this is not a goodbye, because I know that I will still see you all in resurrection morning. This is me, and this is the story of my sweet, short life. Thank you.
Amen.